All right. Hello and welcome. This is Friday with the Founders. I'm ER Wolf with Elify, joined by or with my partner Guy Toole here, and we're talking all things Elify this Friday. We've had an amazing week, and we hope you've had an amazing week as well. The theme for this week, and we do a theme every single week, has been networking in the 21st century. Now, Guy, I know we had a roundtable yesterday, and we talked about some questions. Are you somebody who is actually going out and talking and interacting with your potential customers? Are you somebody who prospects? Are you somebody who actually is hands-on and builds relationships with the people you do business with? If you're that person, how well are you doing it is the big question, right? Guy, you and I have been in technology for a long time. We're going to talk all things Elify on this call, and that's really where Elify starts out as a technology company. And in the early days, it was, how do you introduce yourself, and how do you introduce yourself in a new way? And when we talk about networking in the 21st century, we're all meeting people all the time. Now more than ever online, but still offline plays a role in that. And we have to be aware of that. And we have to be prepared for those interactions. I was talking with users this week about, we always meet people at the most inopportune times. If you think about it, right? We're offline, we're maybe at the grocery store, or we're at the kids' soccer game, or we're doing things and we're bumping into people. I take my kids to school every morning and I meet parents, and we talk and we get to chatting, and then we see that there's a common connection there and we want to make the connection. So the first thing in networking in the 21st century is, how are you introducing yourself to people? And are you doing it in a way that's interactive, engaging, and really highlighting who you are and what you do? And then how are you carrying that relationship through, building that relationship, marketing to those relationships so that you can find customers out of those relationships? And ultimately, as we say, it's marketing, it's networking, but it's referring. How are we empowering our existing relationships and even our existing customers to take us to that next customer? So a lot of that boils down to the tools that we're using, and that's where Elify comes in with technology that can support us in those efforts. As I mentioned, we started out in digital business cards, and then we expanded to that topic of marketing, where we're not just marketing ourselves, we're marketing our products, we're marketing our services. And as we say, we're always trying to deliver the right information to the right person at the right time, and track that, get the data so we can make informed decisions and empower us to track all the way down to the individual level or individual groups that we're marketing and talking to. That's networking in the 21st century. But Elify is so much more now than tools. It's so much more than a digital business card, landing pages. It's now representing easy ways to implement QR codes in our business, right? Implement NFC or near field communication, our TAP technology, and how we share information, and really bring in micro technologies that can support us. And that's expanded to allowing us to create a community of like-minded individuals, entrepreneurs, work-at-home professionals, sales professionals, business professionals, who are really looking at the best ways to run their business and the tools, the skills, and the knowledge that they need to do that optimally so that they can see the biggest advantage in moving forward in their business. So I'm going to get off my little 5-minute overview of what Elify is, and let's just talk about some of our solutions, guys. Shuffle, tap, etc.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get into it, and let's actually take a step back in more of a hierarchy, I guess. A 10,000-foot view on Elify and why we created this. I've talked to a lot of you from the aspect, we've talked on multiple of our lives of why have we created Elify and the solution. And there's times you feel vulnerable. And what it took was for me to have a vulnerable conversation with an individual that basically did psychology conversation with me to pull it out so we can verbalize why did ER and I create Elify, and our vision, our mission of what the vulnerability aspect that was pulled out of me to say, why have we created this? It's as simple as this. And I think anybody can use this in Elify to impact lives, to help people live a fulfilled life. That's all Elify is created for, to help people make an impact in their life, whether it's personal, business sense, a way of networking. We know networking is so important, especially today. It's happened for forever. And that's how people did business, is building relationships. And we're in a digital age where we need to be able to say that there's a system, there's something in place that can support us in our vision, our mission, each individual's mission to live and make an impact, to live a fulfilled life. Yeah. And so, when having these types of conversations, that's as deep as a conversation that's a starting point. And how are we impacting lives? Well, we're providing technology that isn't readily available. If everyone were want to go out and piece this together, you can. There could be complexities. There could be a lot of costs. We wanted to make it economical where anyone can join. There is no issue at cost. If there is an issue at cost, then you need to take a deep look into what you're trying to do as a business. Because having another conversation, this individual basically came to me and said, every business owner or starting a business, they're looking at technology and what they need to have. Yeah. They think they need complex CRMs. They think they need websites. Yeah. When in fact, you don't need a complex CRM. You just need to know who the person is. How did I meet them? When did we talk? What did we talk about? And when are we going to talk again? That's as complex as what a CRM should be. Yes, people want to have automation and those different types of things. We don't automate those. We automate the fact that you should follow up with someone and you should follow through. You get to keep all the tracking within a contact, the notes, the interactions, the follow-ups, the follow-throughs, to the point where hopefully we reach that 5 to 12 follow-ups. I think today's being in the digital world, it's less than that. If we really work it or are building the right relationship and having the right conversations. And then we don't need websites. We talked about it last week, did the research. 68% of large companies are getting rid of their websites. I'm meeting with a company in North Carolina on a Zoom call next week, and they talk about their website on how great it is. But then in digging in and having conversation with them, and they become real, they're like, our website is slow, it's robust. People are confused when they come to it. They don't know what we do. And that's what businesses are identifying, that we don't need to have a complex, expensive website. We need landing pages. We need to drive people to specific sections, the right information to the right person at the right time. That's right. So we don't need websites. We don't need expensive CRMs. But as business owners, we need to get started. Yeah. We need to get started somewhere. And Elify can be that starting point, and through implementation can be the solution that continues to evolve everyone's businesses within our group, but expand to the conversation of, we're just trying to make an impact in people's lives.
That's right. It doesn't get more real than that, Guy. And that's the truth. This is the reason why we created the tools, with this servant leader mentality, to help make that accessible to everybody. These are micro technologies, guys. If you're not using QR codes in your business, and we talked about this at the roundtable yesterday, if you ever go into the business expo or a business meeting or a business networking event, and you're not seeing people use these things, that's an opportunity that's missed for those people. Likewise, if you're not using them for yourself, that's an opportunity that's missed for you to either share information out or pull information in. And those are the two biggest components when it comes to the technology aspect. What am I pushing out to people? Is that information about me? Is it information about a product, a service? What information do I need to give to somebody to best support them? And then all conversely, what information do I need to pull in so that I can keep the ball in my court and really grow and foster that relationship so that we can do business, and so that relationship flourishes and turns into additional relationships outside of it. We hear it all the time. We've been talking about it ad nauseum over the last year to 2 years. The U economy is coming, right? Shifts and changes are happening, and a lot of it boils down to relationship. It's going to boil down to you and who you're interacting with and how you guys are working together, and the tools and the skills and the knowledge that you're using to support success within that. And then lastly, Guy, it's exactly what you just said, the secret sauce. And we hear this all the time, like, what's the secret? What's the secret? It's getting started. It's getting into action. It's doing the work. Like, most people are looking for the easy button. I think that's why when people think technology, they think automation, like, all right, I'm going to set this thing up and then, I don't have to do anything and I can sit back and relax. Guys, the reality is there is no easy button. There is no easy button. Otherwise, you'd hear everybody shouting about the easy button from the rooftops. The reality is we just need to go out and get into action. And I was listening to something yesterday during some self-development, and they talked about turning everything into a game or play. And really that is when work becomes play. Guys, play is another 4-letter word, but we don't treat it like one when you think about it. And we have to look at what we're doing as a game and the way we can optimize our gameplay so that we increase our chances of winning each and every day. And when you start to win, you feel like a winner. And so really what we're doing here at Elify is trying to put the tools and the knowledge and the skill within this community together so that we can all play to the best of our ability. So what I want to do right now is just open this up for anybody here in the community who wants to talk about a tip, a trick, a win, anything that they've had going on this week. Go ahead, Ruben. Thanks for joining the conversation. Good to have you on.
Great. Guys, the day before yesterday, I spent a couple hours making a card with 35 videos.
Yeah.
Kudos to Kathy, okay? I lined that up because I wanted to make it simple for my new subscribers to work with. Well, I shared it with ER, and ER made a suggestion. And I go, okay. And I didn't understand the element that I needed to implement. So I put on my Van Gogh hat, and I went by and I changed the video that I had in the button to this element right here. Yep. And guys, if you've ever been on YouTube, you're watching a video, but there's commercials everywhere. Things are going around. How can someone focus in on your video? Well, when you put it in this particular mood in the desktop builder, under whatever video platform you're going to use, it focuses it right there. When they push that button, they go right into the video. No distractions. Thank you, ER. Thank you, Guy, for making a wonderful tool.
Oh, thanks, Ruben, for that. And thanks for just going through the process and getting started. As you said, guys, the beautiful part about this platform is you can start with something and you can iterate and adjust it and edit it and dial it in over time based on feedback, based on your customer feedback, based on peer feedback. This is what it's all about. We want to optimize our pages so that they perform well for us. So, Ruben, as you send that out, as you share that out, again, we're going to come back and take a look at it and see how it's performing. It could be something as just the order of those videos might make an impact. All of these things play a role as we dial in our pages, but ultimately these pages are meant to support certain purposes and roles within our business, right? If you're a business owner and you get common questions all the time, boom, that should be your aha moment that I need to put together a page for this, right? If somebody's asking you this one question, you get it from every one of your customers. Wow, instead of answering the same question 10 times a day, put together a page for that so that you can share that out to somebody when the question comes in, and think about the time that might free up for you. I see a question in the chat from Rose Michelle about talking to people who maybe don't like or are dissatisfied with their existing website. And Anna, thanks for commenting back on that. You want to dig in. What don't you like? What's not working? And typically it's what Guy was talking about, that they've thrown everything under the sun into their website. And it's so robust that it creates confusion. And what we have to realize is a confused mind says no. It hits that roadblock and it says, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I'm being bombarded by information. And guys, we live in an age where we are in information overload. So what we want to do is we want to simplify down and serve up bite-sized information for the people we're sharing information with to consume. We want to cut through the noise so that they can make an informed decision, and let them make an informed decision. This isn't convincing. Sales is about serving, and it's about filtering and sorting to find the people that we can best serve and help. And then the other ones who maybe now's not the right time, we're going to build that relationship so that when the timing is right, we're there to serve them as well.
I think a big thing along with this to get a little more in depth on people that are having issues with their websites and aren't happy with them. We're all business owners. We're ambassadors here, Elify ambassadors. So you actually become a business advisor to individuals when you're having a conversation and, share me your website. Let me take a look. I'd love to be able to give you a few tips, tricks, pointers, maybe even a way to simplify this whole thing so we can attract more and get people to move forward in some of those actions that those companies are trying to do. Is to ER's point, they're putting everything on their websites. They max out the menu bar across the top. They're maxing out the menu bar on the side. They have endless scrolling sales sites with buttons everywhere. And it's confusing. As soon as I'm presented one of those, it's basically paralysis by analysis. There's so much happening that I close that link down. I will avoid having to click on that link or going to that page again, but it gives us an opportunity to talk to those individuals who have those types of sites and express that to them. Yeah. That people get overwhelmed with what's being provided. We see it happening in a lot of relationship marketing businesses. Sure. Like I've got my own self-replicated website. Well, it's exactly like the companies. And the only differentiator is the links to you, which happen to work just like the links within our application. But it's still complex because they're trying to sell on the first interaction of someone going to a site, when in fact, it may take a few clicks. It may take a few areas for them to go find what you're trying to present to them. So what can happen here is, as an advisor, you can say these types of things. It's complex. It can be simplified. It can go more towards a landing page design. There's a platform here available that we can walk you through how to set this up. So we're driving people to the correct place. We can reduce your cost on your website management. If you go to guidetool.com, my website's my card. It is all it is. I can expand into that. I can come and adjust it at any time. Those are things that a lot of business owners don't have access to, yet they get the frustration because they know that it's not performing for them the way that they intended it to. And then they have to do a change order, and it costs them $1,000 to change a button or to move an element. And you get to do that here as many times as you would like, forever, as long as you continue to pay for your service. Yep. Your service is $10, $20, or $30 is all you're paying for it. I know Anna, I know Kathy, like redirecting of their URL can be as simple as having a landing page. And then if you have buttons and links, those just go to additional landing pages that are a little easier for people to consume when they're selecting those. And the ultimate goal of people purchasing is to simplify the process for them and know what they're clicking on so they know what they're purchasing.
I mean, you're speaking the truth, guys, and I hope people are listening to what Guy is saying. And the reality is, we're data-driven, and you should be data-driven as well. And there's a lot of statistics out there that I think people just don't look at, and then they do the opposite. And it blows my mind, right? We know that about 40% of businesses don't have an online presence. So when they're thinking about implementing an online presence, they're starting to revert back to what was being done in the 2000s, guys, 20 years ago, right? I got to hire a webmaster. I got to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a website. I got to do all of these things. And we're in 2022. This stuff is more accessible to everybody now than it has ever been. And you do not have to be a programmer. You don't have to have a background in, computer science to do this type of stuff. Most of this stuff, anybody can do, and I'll tell you what, if you're on this call, a show of hands, how many of you thought you weren't tech savvy enough to operate this when you first got started, right? And now having played around with it a little bit, how many of you feel confident, you know what you're doing? And the reason is that's the goal of technology. It's to make it more accessible and simple for everybody to implement. And when we do that, more and more people can implement and leverage the power of it. And if 40% of people aren't existing online, guys, they're missing out on trillions of dollars. There's a whole online economy that's happening. Additionally, right, if you're not tapping into the online economy and you're still working on the offline economy, how are you doing it, and are you doing it efficiently? Because even there, you want to connect people to more interaction. That's the power of this technology, right? I can engage with you. I can let you have an interactive experience. I can share, if you had a choice to give somebody a flyer that most likely is going to get thrown away shortly after you've given it to them, or give them a digital flyer that had interactive content, more visuals, videos that would play, additional outbound links, what do you think is going to create a better experience for your person? It's a no-brainer in my opinion. And yet I think maybe there's these fears of it's going to cost too much. Guys, that's one of the missions that Guy and I had to go out here and to really impact lives, is we don't want cost to be the prohibiting factor. So we have a nominal monthly fee, and you sort of can add to it as you go along. We don't want somebody who feels like they're not tech savvy to feel like they're blocked in doing this. And Doc, I saw a question from you on the chat. You know what I mean? It's about practice. It's about how we learn to do anything, right? I was just reading something about learning how to drive a car. And it's so hard for me to remember back being like 16 years old. But do you remember it? You're like, do I push the blinker up or down to turn right or left? How hard do I push on the gas? My dad used to yell at me because it'd be like, start, stop, start, stop. Now, I can be in a car, I could be singing a song to the radio, having a conversation with the person next to me, and I'm almost on autopilot. That all came from repetition. That all came from practice. So the more we put this stuff into practice in our everyday life, the more it becomes second nature to us. And I know this because there are people on this call who have made Shuffle second nature to themselves, who can jump in and make an edit to a page in 2 minutes, sitting in their car, getting ready to go into an event, who can pull a card out of their wallet or their purse and tap it on somebody's device and create magic for the people they're interacting with. And they don't have to be that technologist to do it. They just are leveraging the power of the Elify community and the Elify tools. So, Guy, we're about halfway through this call. I know this is typically the time we start segueing over to ambassador and affiliate type conversation. And I also want to bring that back to what you said about how we impact lives and how we help people live fulfilled lives. And it really is about opening that up to everybody, to the community, and saying, look, we truly believe technology will make an impact in the success of any business that wants to leverage it. And I'm a firm believer that our business model, a software as a service model, a community model, a sharing model, is the right model. And we encourage people, look, if you've created an experience that has benefited you within Elify, you've used Shuffle to accomplish something, you've used Tap to accomplish something, you've used the QR codes to accomplish something, we want to encourage you to share that out with people, to become an ambassador of ours and really represent the Elify brand actively, because we're on a mission to spread the word about this stuff. But Guy, you and I are only limited by the amount of time that we have in the day. We can't talk to everybody. So we want your help in sharing that. But we also want you to benefit from that. And I think that's that, again, that high level approach, Guy, that you talked about of impacting lives. We want you to share in that as if you're a partner with us, an ambassador with us, so that every time that you share and somebody makes an informed buying decision, purchases a shuffle or a tap, you get a piece of that. And you get a piece of that for the life of the customer. Guy, you always say it's simple. You just get paid to share. And that's truly how simple it is. And we've leveraged components of, my background in affiliate marketing, where it's sharing links, it's sharing content, it's sharing information, just like you would use Shuffle to share your own business and your own information, just about Elify, Shuffle, and Tap. And when you do that, you earn. And you earn residually for the life of those customers. And you even have the ability to earn off of the ripple effect, the impact that your sharing has as it spreads out throughout other people. I think that's so powerful, Guy. That's something that, after you and I had that conversation about impacting lives, it came to me as that's one of the reasons why we did that and why we were adamant about creating this program. The one side of it is to create the tools and to offer the community the knowledge and the skills to put those tools into practice. And the other side is saying, look, we're going to take this to the world. Guy and I are on a mission, and if you want to join us in this mission, and we encourage you to join us in this mission, you can participate in that, whether it's to subsidize the cost of your shuffle. There are plenty of people who earn more than it costs for their shuffle, their tap, what they're spending. And in my mind, as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you want to create business models that put you in the black versus in the red as quickly as possible. And then you want to work on scaling those things up. So it's this accessibility point to opportunity that can help impact people's lives.
I think let's dig into a couple scenarios. So Doc, as a realtor, I can speak to this because my wife's a realtor and how she utilizes the solution. We sit down and we create a landing page. We get the 5 elements that ER has talked about. What is the goal of this card? Right? It's to drive more people to look at this home who's looking in this area, this price point, those different types of things. What elements did we need to support that? The photos, the virtual tour, and having those in a way that can be shared on the landing page, links, buttons, however, the images, which the images can also link to the MLS of that home, the order of the elements. If I'm specifically going to be marketing a home, that's the home I want to be marketing. But, another piece of collateral is I want to be marketing myself as a realtor. So that's an ideal element to have in place as well. The calls to action, setting a showing, coming to an open house, wanting to connect with you to learn if there's anybody has written on it yet, and if there's a timeline on when you're taking in bids on the home. And then the design to make it feel like it's your business. It's the company which you hang your hat with, to be able to say this house is being provided by this company from this agent. And we create that collateral and we design it. We make it look like a website, but it's a landing page. We start gathering the different collateral in which ways we're going to share. We know that she can text it to her existing customers or people who are looking at that price point in this area, or other agents who might have individuals. She can text that. She can email that to them. We generated QR codes to go on the signs. And, a lot of homes, they have the flyer box where you pull it out. Having the QR code printed on the flyer box itself, as well as the flyers for people to take away. So those are just a few elements. And then it's easier for her to drive more traffic to that home. And then in turn, other realtors saying, I need to do this as well, because this seems like it's a simple process that we can implement. So, that's the conversation that she has with other realtors, and you see them trickle in and coming on. And by implementing it, understanding what they have, you get a lot more success happening in those sales, because in turn you're sorting in the correct buyers, and you're giving the correct information to those individuals at the right time. So hopefully from a strategy aspect, that helps a little bit just in the real estate aspect. And that can be from all of us as ambassadors. We all know a realtor, we have one ourselves, or we know a neighbor. I think they said here in northern Colorado, in the last 2 years prior to this year, the amount of people that became licensed was unimaginable, because it was a hot market. And I think now we're getting into a market where it's a little tougher. I think someone who has some integrity with them, has understood the down markets of 2007, 2008, are the ones that have been successful at this and continue to be successful, because they know what it takes to get a contract written up, and how to make those different types of negotiations. But I think that gives us all availability to say, hey, this is a use case. This is what's happened with people on the platform, to help them get the information out about them as a realtor, about their business, and about their listings.
And Guy, I think anybody on the call or anybody seeing this, they can take it beyond the industry of real estate, right? I mean, what we're really talking about is lowering friction for people to interact with us and to engage with what we're doing. And the more that friction is created, the more likelihood that somebody's not going to go forward in whatever process, system, et cetera, that you're implementing. So, to Doc's point, having different pages for different things, whether it's for buyers, for sellers, for investors, or if you're in a product-based business, for product A, product B, product C, it's giving the right information to the right person at the right time. If you give them all the information, you're creating more friction for them, and they're less likely to continue to go forward in the process. They get confused, they bounce, they do all of those types of things. And yet we've been living in a world with all of this friction, and now there's more and more noise than ever. It's coming at us from every end. Every time our phones go off, we've been conditioned mentally, subconsciously, to pick up them and look at them and say, oh, there's a text, I got to get pulled away from what I'm doing or distracted. We're trying to reduce that friction. Similarly, like when we first got started, you talk business card, and Guy, we've gone ad nauseum about the stats on the traditional business card, and yet it still blows me away that it's considered the number one marketing tool for most businesses when they're getting started, right? And yet they just don't perform. And again, I think that we all know the old saying about the definition of insanity. If it's not performing well for you, then you need to make a change. You need to create something that will perform for you, that will lower the friction. I just think about like a phone number, somebody calling you to do business. If you had the choice of entering in, for us, it's 10-digit dialing, 10 digits on the phone to call you, or push one button to call you, you've lowered the friction by 10x, as an example, just by putting a call me link on interactive media that you're sharing with people. Think about that. Or Rose Michelle, I saw you talking about the gym and the flyers. To Guy's point in real estate, right? Putting a QR code on a flyer and allowing the person who has that flyer to at least scan it before they crumple it up. What are they more likely to do? Pull out their phone, open their camera, and scan a QR code, or enter in a long string format URL, www.mygymcomejoinnow.com, whatever it is. The reality is they're most likely not going to pick up their phone and type that stuff in, but they would be willing to pick up their phone and scan that. So we're really talking about lowering friction on how people engage with us. And when we start to implement that, and Kai, we go back to that starting thing, implementation, getting started, putting it into action. When we do that and we do it consistently over time, we start to see those results yield automatically, because we're recapturing those lost opportunities that most of us, we're losing them all the time. We just want to recapture them. We're trying to brute force our way a lot of the time to success by doing what everybody is doing, when we can do it a little bit better. And that's really what Elify is all about.
I think strategically, let's talk to Rose Michelle's question on the gym aspect. And if they have a flyer, what I would do is I'd grab a flyer. And if it's set in columns or a trifold, whatever, I would take a column and I'd make that a card. And I would get the graphics, whatever I could pull to be able to make that card. And then I'd have 2 call to actions: learn more, get signed up, or whatever the get signed up button, whatever the language is that they would like to have in that place. Learn more goes to the second column or the second page. Learn more, get signed up, and just keep giving them that option to take the journey that they want. And then it generates a QR code per page. And then you can do one for the overall package, to ER's point, that can be printed and put on each one of those flyers to be handed out. You could also just take a QR code and have a QR code setting by the flyers and saying, if you would like, we have a digital form here for you as well.
And I think the other thing, I'm looking at what Greg has posted here in the chat. Can I post my QR code straight to LinkedIn or Facebook? And here's the reality. Yes, you can absolutely do that. But we also want to be aware of, if somebody's on their phone, they're not really in a position to scan a QR code. So having a QR code on a mobile site or a mobile device is less impactful than, say, having a hyperlink, something that's just, we've all seen them. It's text in blue, underlined, where somebody can click and it takes them to where they want to go. And we must remember, guys, the average person, 4.5 hours a day, we're now spending connecting our eyeballs to these supercomputers that are in our pocket, guys. We're conditioning ourselves. I've heard them referred to as dopamine delivery devices, right? They've conditioned us to pick them up when they chime, when they go off, when they ring. So we want to put our information where we know our audience's attention already exists. And so, Greg, if you're going to be posting that, be strategic about it. If I'm posting onto social, and I know a lot of the people in my target market on social might be on social on their phone, then I want to make it easy for them to click on. And if they're on social on the computer as well, easy to click on. They just mouse over and click on the link. Versus if you're on computer on social, you're still most likely maybe not going to pick up your phone and scan the computer screen. So I think good uses for QR codes and near field communication technology, the tap that Elify offers, really plays a great role offline, and connecting those offline eyeballs to our online content. I think there are certain situations like in Zoom here where we're just trying to recapitalize on opportunity to say, look, I've got my QR code here. If you're on your computer watching this versus your phone, you can scan it and we can connect. But you might also notice that in addition to having my QR codes and information on the screen, I'm also throwing in hyperlinks, the URLs, into the chat. So we're trying to do this full circle process to where we're capitalizing on as much of the audience attention as we can and streamlining the process on how they can move forward. So again, keep that in mind strategically. Television, great way to have a QR code. You know what I mean? Again, that we talked about the Super Bowl ad is this bouncing QR code going along the screen, and it got so many scans on Super Bowl Sunday that it broke the website that it was linked to. That's how powerful this stuff can be. The brochure, again, if you're doing any type of print right now, I think you're doing a disservice if you're not doing interactive media, interactive print. I know, Anna, we've got a call next week with a publisher. I've worked with several other publishers who are sitting there saying, look, we're going to still be in print and we're still going to be printing material, but if we're not making that interactive, we're missing out. And I know the old interactivity of maybe the early 2000s might have been put your URL or put your email address, in that print. But if we can reduce the friction by putting something like a QR code that goes to the same place and is easier for the person to interact with, they're more likely to move forward in that process. So we just want to be strategic on how we're leveraging these tools so that we can get the most impact out of them. That's it. We just want to have the most impact in our businesses, right? So we want to be like, what can we do to connect? What can we do to share? What can we do to gather? And how can we make that simple for everybody? So any other questions, tips, tricks, comments, or anything from anybody out there, whether you've been using Shuffle for the last 5 years or whether you're new to Shuffle right now?
I'm going to make a confession. I know you said that 4.5 hours a day is what people are on their mobile device. Every Sunday, Apple sends you a notification of your screen time. Sunday, I received one that mine was up 126% from the previous week. That was to 2 hours and 37 minutes. So, like, where was my focus? I'm sitting here. I got distracted and got pulled away, but I'm not getting distracted in, what isn't business aspects to me. I know I'm moving the dial forward in business. The ERs also noticed that I turn my phone off or turn on do not disturb. He does as well. That sometimes, though, when he turns his on, he forgets to turn it back off, and then I can't get a hold of him. So I'm calling him, and then he sees a message and he's like, "Oh no, I forgot to turn my do not disturb on." ERs is probably up to an hour, but we're here at our computers 12 hours a day, and we're having individual meetings. We're doing our lives. We're doing strategy sessions, and just understanding, yes, this is where everyone is going. And also to the aspect going further back to websites and complexities and what those are doing. A lot of websites aren't designed to be mobile first. I think that's a disservice for a lot of businesses. Is if I search for a site and I go to it on my phone, there's buttons that lay over the top of the text, and there's text that lay over the top of the buttons. And what we love about our application and being able to be a mobile first approach is that it transitions. It's responsive to whatever device you're viewing. So just want to make that point as well in the technologies that we have available here.
Yep. Jeff, I saw you had your hand up. I know you're remote right now. It looks beautiful out where you're at. So I love the background. It's not one of those Zoom backgrounds like we have. It's the nature background.
This is Northeast Iowa, believe it or not. And my college roommate and I are just biking. And then there's a dear friend of mine who owns that brewery back there. And then I'll be coming to Colorado first thing Sunday morning. I'll be driving all day, and I'll be there for 4 days at a nice hotel just to the north of UER. Anyway, so what you said, I heard yesterday you say on Friday you really want to emphasize the benefits of the affiliate program, right?
Yeah.
Do I need to say any words? Right? If I use Elify, and I've been one of the longtime users, and if I can make a presentation, get my message, record it, put it on an Elify card, put some copy above it, some call to action below it, and make multiple cards for myself and other people and other companies, do you think on it? What is today? Friday? We thought it was Saturday. It's Friday, and I was doing this yesterday, and I did it 2 days before at another campground with my wife and dog. So, I mean, right? I mean, I'm writing some copy right now on what people want, and everybody wants more freedom. Now, we all want different kinds of freedom. Sometimes some financial, and that type of thing. Location. Well, this is location freedom. I am participating on the Elify call. I'm getting training. I'm getting support, and I'm showing the people that maybe are on the call that you can live this kind of lifestyle, that I've been doing since I was in my early 50s. And it's possible. So, but you just have to be willing to take some time and learn and work at your craft, develop a skill. But the nice thing about Elify is it doesn't take a lot of skill, doesn't take a lot of time and effort. You can sort of get that online presence you were talking about earlier, ER, quick and easy. That's a popular combo in copywriting, but it is quick and easy. I can literally sit down, whip up a pretty darn good Elify card with a good marketing message in about 30 minutes for the most part.
I mean, it's amazing, everybody. And to Jeff's point, and Jeff, I want to leave you with this word. It's a term in Japanese. It's a phrase called Shinrin Yoku. It's forest bathing. It's being out in nature, guys, and connecting and absorbing and recharging, which is what I'd like to think that Jeff has been doing over the last several days. And it's hugely impactful. It's something that got me into the outdoors and all of that type of stuff. And Jeff mentioned it. We're all looking for freedoms. We're all looking for freedoms in our life. This is why we do the thing we do. And for me, I realized this really early on, maybe in my 20s, that the existing model just doesn't make sense to me, that there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to operate our businesses. This is why we create the technology and the community that we do. But there has to be a better way in that game of life that I was mentioning earlier, the game, and how we do it. It doesn't make sense to me that a lot of people are on this prescribed path that you want to go work for 40, 50, maybe 60 years or your whole life, all for this sort of future date at some day that you'll arrive at and be able to do whatever you want to do. We're all looking for these freedoms, and that's why we're doing what we do. I remember the old phrase, entrepreneurs are the only people who will work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week. And why is that? Is we want to front end load it so that we can have this back end freedom. And it goes back to, Guy, what you were talking about impacting lives here. When we talk about the freedoms, I think about three main freedoms. And these are the three main freedoms that I work towards every day in my life. And I've achieved aspects of them across the board. Am I at my final destination, guys? No, I'm not at my final destination until I take my final breath. But I'm going to be in the journey and in the practice the entire process, right? So the three freedoms. Right? Everybody always talks about financial freedom, guys, but think about what you would be willing to sacrifice for that financial freedom. Think about time freedom as well, right? You could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have any time to enjoy it, what is it worth? You know? And then the last thing is this location freedom. And again, I want to call out Jeff and his background, because here he is, and here we all are in a virtual space that would have only been achievable by technology. And we can do it from anywhere in the world. I used to tell my wife, I want to live this laptop lifestyle where as long as I have an internet connection, I can be doing business. You know, we talk about Anna, who's up in Wiggins, Colorado, a small community, 1,400 people, and yet she has clients dispersed all over the place. This is the power of technology. This is the power of the 21st century. So if you're not tapping into it, if you're still doing things the old-fashioned way, you're missing out. And that's really what we're trying to share with people. When we talk about the ambassadorship and the affiliate program, and we'll get into it as we sort of round this call out, I'm going to open up the affiliate screen. I go through it pretty much every Friday, guys. This is not rocket science. We're trying to simplify it so that we can impact as many lives as possible. I know that in order to have financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom, one of those things is multiple streams of income. We all know it. The best streams of income that I've found in my entire life are passive residual income streams. Doesn't matter whether you own investment properties that are bringing you in rental income, or you sing a song or write a book and it gets replayed and you get a royalty. Again, these are passive in their residual. They come to us. So these are the model that we put together within Elify that's available to anybody. You can boost your income streams. And how do you do that? You become an ambassador. You activate your affiliate status. We get the call, I think it was on last week's, and I believe it was Danon who asked the question, right? What's the difference between an affiliate and an ambassador? In my mind, an affiliate is somebody who's out there using Shuffle to promote their primary business, and they're passively exposing the technology to other people they interact with, right? I'm sharing you my brochure about my gym with Tap, and you're saying, well, what is that card you're using to share me that brochure? That's the passive referral. Ambassadors are actively referring. They're out there sharing and talking actively about Elify, about Shuffle, about Tap, how it's made an impact in their lives and how it can make an impact in the life of the person talking to. They're out actively promoting. And when they do, and that person makes an informed buying decision, right? The join, the promote, the start earning, they start earning. And we've made it simple. Again, we're not saying there's volume requirements or ranks or any of those types of things. From an opportunity here in business, you make a direct referral, somebody uses your link or comes in with your code, you get 10% for the life of that customer. Every time they're purchasing something from us, you're earning 10%, and you earn it for however long they're a customer. So we know if people use Shuffle and implement it and see the results, they become lifelong users. We have people who are affiliates who've earned off of referrals they made 5 years ago. That's doing the work once and getting paid over and over and over again. That's the benefit of residual income. In addition, we know as we work to create an ideal business model, that leverage is so important, right? We are limited to the 24 hours in the day that we have. Guy and I talked about that. I think it's 86,400 seconds in a day. That's the level playing field that we're all operating within. But if we can leverage the efforts of other people and yet still they get a benefit and we get a benefit? Why not? So we actually allow you to earn on the network referrals. That means when you make a referral, if that extrapolates out to additional referrals beyond you, you earn on it as well for a full 6 degrees of separation. And you're going to earn 2% less on your network referrals than you do on your direct referrals, 8% versus 10%. Then we understand how important leverage is. I used to say this John Paul Getty quote almost on every call, guys, and it was the oil tycoon. Anybody, you remember John Paul Getty? You can look him up. Massive billionaire, one of the first billionaires in America. Here's his direct quote. I would much rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of my own efforts. Just take a minute to think on that. If you got 1% of the efforts of 100 people and you didn't have to do anything, yeah, that'd be pretty nice. I like to paraphrase that quote. I would much rather have 1% of the efforts of 1,000 people because there's no way I can put in 1,000% effort. Think about it. We are all capped to some degree based on time. So if you can go out and extend leverage, and that's what we've done here, if you go out and directly refer 10, 20, 30, or 40 people, you want to max out this program, guys, go out and focus on 40. Your timeline, you can do it all tomorrow. You can do it all over the next 2 years, entirely up to you. But when you do that, you can unlock a 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th extension on your leverage at 1%. Now, if those numbers don't make much sense to you and you're a visual learner, I always pull up this chart. It's about as simple as it can be. You as the ambassador, you've activated your affiliate status. You're out making direct referrals. You're earning 10%. Anything that waterfalls out from your direct referral for a whole 6 degrees of separation, you earn 8%, right? If you go out and you were actively referred, that means right here on your direct referrals, 10, 20, 30, 40 people, you can unlock 7, 8, 9, and 10 at an additional 1% bonus. Okay, this isn't something that should confuse anybody. If you're confused about this, let us know. We want to walk through it with you because this is simple back of the napkin math, guys. That's why we did it. We wanted to make it so that people weren't feeling like they were confused about how the business operated. In any business, you need to understand how you earn money. Then you need to focus on the attributes that generate that money. Guys, there's 2 attributes to be successful as an ambassador within Elify. Go out and make direct referrals. We've got lots of people on this call who are already in process of doing that, and they can raise their hands and tell you how easy it is. And then go out and support those people. Some of them will become team members and make other referrals, and that's your network referrals. You focus on those 2 things. Guy and I say doing, that's you doing, and then you helping and teaching others how to do. That's the process. That's the system. There's a commission calculator on here for anybody who wants to crunch numbers or estimate what they can earn. I'm a big believer in working backwards if you want to be successful at something. Identify where you want to go, break it down on how you're going to get there, and then as Guy said, get started. Start working down that process, and guess what? 1 foot in front of the other, you'll reach your final destination. It's as simple as that. So Guy, we got 4 minutes left. I'm going to throw it over to you to do any housekeeping, wrap this thing up, unless there are any other final questions from anybody.
You know, just a final thought is we're living in a digital age, and that's what we're in, and we have to adapt to it. ER mentioned the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result or a different result. I really think business for a lot of people is stuck in past ages. We have the digital revolution, right? Or actually the industrial revolution. I think a lot of businesses still probably try to function like the industrial revolution. And when did that end? That ended like in 1840. And there's the advancements that got us out of that was technology. Machines were created to effectively help people do things better than they could do by themselves by hand, right? Then we moved into the informational age. In the informational age, you know what the gap is identified between when the industrial revolution ended and the information age started? There's a 130-year difference. And that's identified in American history there's 130 years of gap time before advancement into the information age. And information is just getting correct information out to the right person at the right time. So we're bringing in multiple ages that are now allowed to be spread and shared through the digital age, which we're in now. We're in part of the digital age as well as the experience age. Experiences. We see it on social media. People are providing their experiences. You see them on commercials. You see, lawyers always have someone come on as a testimonial. This is an actor. This is a depiction of what something happened. Like that is an experience that they had with someone. We're living in these types of ages. The next will be the crazy ones to think about it. Distributed ledger tech, artificial intelligence, extended reality.
Yep.
And technology is going in those directions that people, I don't want to live in a digital reality. I don't want to have to put a VR headset on to live.
Metaverse, let's all put it on, right?
Right. I want to be able to Anna's point, control my life.
Yep.
I don't want to be forced into doing something that by my age and my skill set forces me to do this.
Yep.
That I'm in control. We're in a digital and an experience age, and we get the opportunity to share those with other people. And again, to the point, we're sharing. That's all the affiliate program is, the ambassador aspect. The ambassador, why we're leaning more in towards the ambassador is action, activity. ER mentioned it. There's so many hours we can do here, from having conversations to digging in and doing real work on the aspect of what Elify and Shuffle is and continue to provide. Yeah. So just wanted to bring that up. Don't live a life of insanity. There's different ways of doing things. There's simpler processes that can be utilized to make an impact in your life as well as other people. And other people are looking for something to help impact them. They might not know it. They have to be presented that opportunity to them. To wrap it up, we enjoy these Friday with the Founders. Thank you for everyone participating. We always say will, skill, refill over the weekend. If you've got work to do, make it worthwhile. Get information created and shared out. That's what we're doing. We're just sharing the information. We're in the information age. Share that information as much as possible wherever it's relevant to share the right information, right person, right time. We'll be back on Monday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Time for our sprint planning. Quick little 15-minute training on that. Then we expand into a live, maybe do a little bit of strategy for the week for individuals who participate within the Zoom with us. Tech Tuesday, I don't believe is going to be happening next Tuesday because I believe
I might end up holding that.
We might be holding that. Kathy will be traveling to Colorado. And then Wednesday, we do a little live. It's time to time. We do a little live in our Influence Builder site over on Facebook. Then we get back into our Thursday mastermind, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Appreciate you sharing that earlier in the thread there, the bit.ly link, Ruben, to our week at a glance. People can grab that, have it as one of your tabs. If you were to ever see my computer and I share my pages and screens, you would think it's crazy, but I know exactly where everything is. It's almost like my desk sometimes. I know where the thing is in the pile. But that's just how it works. Sharing that, keeping that on so you know when to participate and get the notifications on when we go live. And then we'll wrap up next week with Friday with the Founders. So if there's no additional questions, everyone have a great Friday afternoon. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you Monday morning. Everyone, take care.